Right then, this is a walk around video for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 1.6 SET model. The SET means basically gets the sat nav. Low mileage on this one. It's only just covered 42,000 miles. Finished in white, which looks really lovely on the car, especially with the privacy glass. And it's in absolutely beautiful condition. To go around the car for you, it's a bit windy, so I'm hoping you can hear me okay. The front of the car's really clean. Lights and lenses are clear and intact. Bumper very clean, as is the box of the car, which hardly exhibits a stone chip anywhere, in all honesty. Coming down the near side, again wonderfully crisp in the panel work. No obvious indentations there at all. Near side front alloy, really good. Panel work at the side. Sorry, I'm in the shade because it's bright and sunny, which is lovely, but actually not very good for doing videos. So the shade is the best place for it. Rear alloy on the near side there, again very, very clean. Coming around the back of the car, again, bumper corner's really nice. Sorry, I just cleaned the rear window with the washers. It's got the washer fluid over it, so I do apologise, but trust me, it's very, very clean indeed. Offside, again, very, very smooth in the panels. Offside rear alloy, absolutely lovely. The remaining panel work is superb. It's one of the very nicest examples you're going to see, in all honesty. And the final alloy, again, absolutely fantastic. So externally, it really is in really, really lovely condition, this car. Coming to the boot area, absolutely enormous boots on the cars. Obviously you can fold those, the tonneau cover back, but it's been kept beautifully. So coming to the back of the car, all very, very clean and tidy. Coming to the front, sorry, the wind's really whipped up now, so hope you can hear me, but the interior looks lovely. By the way, the video makes the seats look slightly pink in the middle. They're not, they're black. It's a really bizarre feature of this phone, I have no idea why. So finally coming on the driver's side, again, wonderfully clean and tidy. The driver's seat itself shows virtually nowhere at all. So inside the car now, engine's running through in this section, so the dash as always can be seen illuminated. The dash is in beautiful condition. Upper screen there, obviously showing the clock at the moment, plus other information you can choose to have. Put the car into reverse. You get the nice clear reverse parking camera to complement the front and rear parking sensors. Sat nav working exactly as it should. Then up to the dash binnacle, and you can see 42,009 miles recorded. No warning lights on there at all. It's kept absolutely beautifully. And this video is done before we've even put the car in for a clean, so it shows just how clean it came to us. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and roll nut key, both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 1.6 SET. The car is registered SP64ZWY, and with a mileage of, amazingly, exactly 42,000 miles. There we go, like that. Reason for the videos is always the case. It's basically to ensure that if anyone's online looking at the car or any of our cars advertised, they actually get to see those cars in operation. The reason we feel it's important is basically because we've been to see cars like so many people, and only to get there and find out that, you know, they've got an obvious fault that shows up while driving the car, so that's why we do it. So coming to the car itself, lovely car, I have to say, really lovely car. Engine starts immediately and settles to a nice smooth even idle, as you'd expect with such a low mileage. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge running as a third, which is exactly where the temperature is meant to be on one of these cars when they're full operating temperature, pardon me. It's just a fabulous diesel engine. I've got exactly the same engine in my CR-V. You know, they're quiet and smooth on the run, only really noticeably a diesel at low speeds. but when you're up and moving, it pulls much harder, much more quickly than you would give it credit for a relatively small capacity engine. So you put your foot down, it's up and going straight away, but very quietly. And the economy is amazing in them. I currently average, easily 55 out of mine. I can get more, but I do predominantly shorter trips. Longer trips, I can be well over 60. So it is a very, very economical unit. But it's also one of those engines that doesn't mean you've got to drive it, really nurture, be really careful with it. Driving smoothly, changing up early, all the usual things help. But it's, unless you're driving like a hooligan or you're just not using the gearbox right, then, the economy will be very good in them. And being a Honda engine, they're incredibly tough, long-lasting, and very, very, very reliable. Engine then feeds into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car, again, absolutely perfect. Bite points exactly where it's meant to be. It's lovely and smooth in operation, and the gear change is just brilliant in them, really is. Because by comparison to so many other cars in its class, it feels beautifully engineered. It's got a lovely shift action. It feels much more sporty than you give it credit for in terms of the gear change. The car is not sporty, I'm not pretending it is, but the gear change, it just feels really satisfying to use, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. It just feels tight as a drum. The whole car does. So I don't normally go this way, by the way. It's just that I know on the main road where I'd like to go out on these test drives, they've got some roadworks going on which I've never seen in that place, and it's slowing everything down. So I'll be sort of trundling along a bit slower today. Coming to the steering of the car, I have driven to higher speed, and there's no vibrations at all at high speed. It tracks nice and straight as well. There's no vagueness or looseness in the steering at all. It's a lovely power steering setup because, again, so many cars of this type either have kind of very vague, lifeless steering or kind of very over light, which I think is the worst. This is reasonably quick, actually, this type of car in terms of its gearing, but it also has kind of a nice weight to it, which basically means you feel really nice and secure and solid on the road. And again, so that's not always the case. Some can be really light and lifeless, which can be interesting to say the least. Chassis of the vehicle, again, what they've gone for, because Honda know this segment of the market pretty much better than anyone, because this CR-V's the best-selling SUV in the world, because they know exactly what the customers want. Basically, they want a comfortable, compliant ride, but one which has got good body control. So when you go through the corners, because it's a taller vehicle, you don't get lots of body motion, lurching, all that kind of stuff, which again you get in so many of its competitors. Because comfort is a very, very subjective thing. I've got in cars which I've thought have been amazingly comfortable. When you drive along, you would ride better than this along this road. They just absorb all the bumps beautifully. I think, crikey, that's really nice. Until you show a corner, and then they lurch and wallow about, and you get sort of very kind of green-looking rear seat passengers. This strikes a really lovely balance, and it does it brilliantly well without any kind of clonks or rattles coming from the suspension at all. As I said, it is incredibly tight and taut on the road. I'm just going to get around the corner. I'm going to get up to a little bit of speed, as much as I reasonably can, and then give the brakes a bit of a shove. There's a nasty bump here. I hate this one. Ooh. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a push. There's a really nice solid brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is a good initial bite, which it's most certainly got, but also that there shouldn't be any sort of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal at all. And again, there's nothing at all on the car. It's absolutely perfect. So finally, coming inside the car, worth pointing out, this is exactly what's come to us. It just doesn't need cleaning. We will, it just doesn't need it. It's in beautiful condition in here, and quite beautifully made, as you'd expect of any Honda vehicle. There's no sort of squeaks or rattles of any note in the car. They're just beautifully bolted together and very simple to get into and drive. Dash all working perfectly, sat nav, dual zone climate control system, ice cold air coming out of there as well. Switch gears, got a beautiful quality of actuation which you get from Honda vehicles. Everything you touch just feels really nicely engineered. Dash binnacle in front, simple, easy, legible dials, very nicely presented without being over fussy, and a nice leather bound steering wheel which feels and looks like new to hold, in all honesty. I rarely do this actually, but I've got an opportunity because this road isn't. This is where CR-Vs excel, by the way. This road is quite challenging, but most cars of its type, if I go a little bit quicker through the corners than normal, it just flows absolutely beautifully. It really is a class act, this chassis. Anyway, there we are. Just had a little opportunity to do it, but there we are. Any questions at all, don't hesitate, do give us a call.